Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 5th October 2023. My name is T.S.V. Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Hardan, 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 Haribol, TRSV, Nectar, NECTAR, Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous, present, and future videos. So let us continue with the topic of discussion for today's video. For the past few videos, we have been talking about the vibrations from the three subtle bodies of a human living entity, whether male or female, to the mass of tissue called brain of the gross body of that particular human living entity, and the results of such transmissions where the brain selects some of those vibrations according to its own whims and fantasies and percolates them down the gross body of that living entity. This results in the reaction of that particular living entity and his gross body into this society as an outlet of the juice thus extracted from the vibration of those subtle bodies. We have already discussed that 75% of humanity listens only to the vibrations of the third subtle body, that is the etheric body of senses, namely sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Only 20% are able to listen also to the vibrations of the second subtle body, that is the astral body of mind, feelings, and emotions. Only 5% also listens to the vibrations from the causal body of intelligence and logic, and even among them 3% concentrate on the material vibrations of that causal body, and only 2% concentrate on the spiritual side of such vibrations. We have been discussing about this whole phenomenon at length in all my previous videos for the past few days. In that process, we have discussed about several case histories which will authenticate this particular theory for the benefit of the multitude in the society, especially those who want to increase their knowledge, experience, maturity, and get evolved as full-fledged or fully finished living entities or spirit souls. Today, in this particular video, we shall also talk about another such case history which will play a very important part in voting for the authentication of this particular theory in this particular subject of vibrations of subtle body towards the gross body. So let us begin. There was a particular Jain family which lived in or around the capital of India, namely Delhi, in the early 20th century. This family was quite educated and decent, with all members getting a refined and being cerebrally inclined in this society. In that family, one boy was born somewhere in the beginning of the first decade of the 20th century. The name of this boy was something, but he was having the surname of Jain. This boy was brilliant to say the least right from his childhood. He was academically quite intelligent and capable, and he came with flying colors during his college and his schooling. Soon this boy enrolled into a medical college after completing his schooling, and thus by the time he was in his late teens or early 20s, got qualified as a full-fledged medical practitioner and doctor in this society in India. This boy specialized in the field of eye surgery. Soon he became an eye surgeon and he started his own practice or private practice in Delhi. This guy's practice grew up to make him very successful to such an extent that he soon came in leaps and bounds. Dr. Jain, as he was called, became one of the locally, nationally, and internationally reputed eye surgeons, and soon he started getting several accolades and awards for his achievements. So much so that by the time he was in his 40s or 30s, he was selected none other than by the government of India to become the official eye surgeon of the President of India. Thus, this boy or this young man called Dr. Jain won not only some accolades and awards, but he also got the President's Gold Medal for eye surgery not once but at least thrice. He was extremely wealthy, very successful, and very honored in his own medical community as well as the society. This man was married and he had his own family. He lived in a very posh locality called Friends Colony in New Delhi. Now we will take a detour. It is quite evident from what we have taught in this particular case history that this family and Dr. Jain were habitually inclined to listen to the vibrations of their astral mind of feelings and emotions. That is precisely the reason that they were more cerebrally inclined than those who listened only to the etheric body of senses. Dr. Jain listened to his astral mind as well as his etheric senses, but at that particular time, his etheric senses and their vibrations had taken a back seat, and he was only listening to his cerebral vibration of the astral mind. That was precisely the reason why he was so materialistically successful and a cut above the multitude in the society of Delhi in that particular era. Now we will continue with the story. So far, so good. Mr. or Dr. Jain had everything coming positive towards him. He was successful, reputed, wealthy, and he had achieved several accolades and awards by the time he was in his mid or late 40s. However, the destiny or karma of Dr. Jain took a turn. Dr. Jain did not get along well with his own wife Vidya. Whatever may be the reason, the fact remained that the two did not see eye to eye on several matters, and so they were always on loggerheads. Here we don't know anything about this wife, Mrs. Vidya Jain. Probably she listened only to her etheric vibration of senses, or probably as far as cerebral faculties were concerned, she was no match to the more intelligent and capable, professionally qualified eye surgeon Dr. Jain. Now comes the zinger. Dr. Jain was already upset with his terms and relationship with his wife Vidya when one day one beautiful girl in her 30s, especially early 30s, joined his clinic as a receptionist. This lady, whose name was Chandresh Sharma, was evidently interested only in what the multitude in the society was interested in. She was listening only to the vibrations of her etheric senses. Dr. Jain, whose vibrations from the etheric senses were dormant till date, suddenly got kindled when he met this receptionist, the young and beautiful Chandresh Sharma. Immediately, whether you like it or not, Dr. Jain and his vibrations on astral mind and feelings and emotions took a back seat, and instead of true platonic love, he fell in love with this girl according to his own etheric senses of infatuation and lust. We all know by now that when a human being listens to his or her lust and infatuation, his or her cerebral faculties stop functioning. It is not surprising that the same happened to Dr. Jain also. Soon these two, that is, Dr. Jain and his own receptionist Chandresh Sharma, fell head over heels in lust for each other. It was not long before Dr. Jain's legally wedded wife Vidya got wind of this relationship and she blew her top. As I had mentioned before, even Vidya Jain, just like Chandresh Sharma, belonged to the multitude of the society and hence both listened only to their etheric body's vibrations. But to her shock and dismay, Vidya Jain, who was very well known to Dr. Jain as an extremely intelligent and capable doctor, was horrified to know that her own very brilliant husband was slipping away from the vibrations of his astral mind towards the vibrations of his etheric senses. Being from that category, this lady came to know what helpless situation Dr. Jain found himself in now. This was new to him. All his life till now he had been listening to and giving importance only to the vibrations of his astral mind. But now this new phenomenon of a present change according to him, where he listened to his senses brought a sea change in Dr. Jain. Jain promptly put her foot down. She tried to inquire who this Chandresh Sharma was. This girl was younger, prettier, and more lustily attractive, according to Jain. So Jain put her foot down and told Dr. Jain in no uncertain terms that he must dismiss this Chandresh Sharma from her job as a receptionist in their clinic. Dr. Jain, much against his own wishes, had to toe the line that Vidya Jain had drawn, and so he terminated the services of Chandresh Sharma. But unknown to Jain, the lust and infatuation between Chandresh Sharma and Dr. Jain remained the same. In fact, it grew stronger because of this sudden development, and now Dr. Jain was always remembering only about Chandresh Sharma. One day, Chandresh Sharma played her lusty part in this whole drama quite professionally and with a lot of intelligence. She told Dr. Jain that she could not live without Dr. Jain. Dr. Jain, who was in a sensitive situation as far as his own psyche was concerned, slipped and fell for this charming dialogue. He asked Chandresh Sharma how or what to do in this particular matter. By this time, he was already sending money to Chandresh Sharma regularly, even if she was not working for him. Chandresh Sharma told Dr. Jain either he will have to choose between his own legally wedded wife Indu or Chandresh Sharma, who he was infatuated with. Dr. Jain already had enough physical and mental problems with the aging Jain. He did not like her one bit. In fact, now he was falling gradually into the delicate and lusty arms of Chandresh Sharma. He said he chose Chandresh and not Indu. Then Chandresh told him, please do away with your wife. That means kill that woman. Dr. Jain played along. Though he was initially shocked, but yet he accepted this proposition from his newfound love, Chandresh Sharma. He gave this responsibility to Chandresh Sharma herself and told her to go ahead and make plans to kill Jain. Chandresh Sharma met one CRPF constable called Rakesh Kaushik, and the two began plotting how to murder Jain. After several trials and errors. One day, this Rakesh Sharma, thanks to his contacts in the police department in Delhi and in surrounding areas, came to know about two notorious thugs and contract circulars from Rajasthan. Their names were Kartar Singh and Ujagar Singh. These two were real brothers and they were always into some trouble or other in their village, their state, and in Delhi, etc. also. They had made quite a quite an awesome reputation as fearless and menacing criminals. Rakesh Sharma made them a proposition where he said that he had one client who was quite wealthy and who will pay enough money to these two boys, brothers, if they manage to kill Indu Jain, the legally wedded wife of Dr. Jain. By this time, the etheric vibrations of senses had fully taken over the cerebral faculties of Dr. Jain. He stopped thinking logically and he began thinking laterally. Now he was getting more and more selfish, greedy, and sensuous. He could not understand what this plan was. Such an intelligent Dr. Jain, who was known for his intellectual brilliance, chose to rely upon the cerebral faculties of Chandresh Sharma and her accomplice Rakesh Kaushik in planning this murder. One evening, Dr. Jain told his wife Indu Jain that they both had to go to visit his own sister who was living on the other side of the same colony. They at that time in the year 1973 and the month of December owned one Fiat car. Dr. Jain drove that car himself. So, because it was a right hand drive, he came and tried to sit into the steering end of the front of that car, while Indu Jain tried to walk over and come to the left side of the front seat of that car. There was one wet or dry gutter near that end. Kartar Singh and Ujagar Singh were hiding in that ditch or that canal. It was night in December, quite cold, and it was around 7 p.m. As soon as Indu Jain tried to get into her end of the front seat of the Fiat car, these two jumped her. One of them caught her and the other stabbed her repeatedly. Dr. Jain, who was aware of this and who was watching this myopically, chose to ignore it all and wanted to claim to the police that he did not hear any sound of this activity going on at the other end of his own car. These two killed Vidya Jain and threw her body into the canal. After 5 minutes, when Dr. Jain was assured that these two culprits and killers had run away, he raised a hue and cry. When the public and the police came, this guy unbelievingly claimed that he was not aware of what was happening to his own wife, Dr. Vidya Jain, his legally wedded wife. The police was baffled. It could not believe its own ears. Such an intelligent and cerebrally inclined doctor, who was reputed to be one of the best brains in his business, had given them such a cock and bull story which was unbelievable even in normal circumstances. They could not understand why Dr. Jain was so intelligent, was trying to make believe this police about what he was saying. They arrested him, interrogated him, and pinned the murder of his own legally wedded wife, Vidya Jain, with the murder of that particular lady. In other words, they called Dr. Jain a cold hearted murderer of his own wife. When they interrogated Dr. Jain, he spilled all the beans because he was no professional killer or criminal. He told the police the identity of Chandresh Sharma, Rakesh Kaushik, Kartar Singh, and Ujagar Singh. All of them were arrested and tried for this murder in the year 1973. The whole country was in shock. It was literally unbelievable that such a brilliant doctor, who had always listened only to his mind and his logic, had come down to his sensuous etheric body and started listening to its vibrations just because he had lusted and was infatuated with one girl who was at least 15 years younger than him. Then Dr. Jain and the others were tried in the Sessions Court, the High Court, and the Supreme Court, and they were all sentenced to life imprisonment and death. In fact, it was at this time that even the President of India, whose eye surgeon officially was Dr. Jain, did not come to his rescue because it was a criminal case. How the mighty have fallen, as Napoleon said once, from the sublime to the ridiculous, it is but a step. Dr. Jain, who had such an enviable and excellent career as a nationally and internationally renowned eye surgeon and one who was officially the eye surgeon of the President of India, came down to this level just because he chose to listen to the vibrations of his etheric body of sensuous which dragged him towards lust and infatuation away from pure platonic love which emanated from the vibrations of the astral mind. If this had been platonic love, then Dr. Jain could not have come to such a sorry pass. Instead, because of his sensual nature now or of late, he had chosen to take such a drastic step and got arrested and convicted to life imprisonment in that process. This is the case history which shows to us how one can fall to disgrace because he chooses to listen to the etheric vibrations of senses and not to the vibrations of the astral body of mind or causal body of intelligence. This is all I wanted to say in this particular case history. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular case history. Please give me your own expert thoughts, opinions, and ideas so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.